And welcome back to Spoiler Kings. I'm Brian the Grizzly here with Brandman Brandon. We're going to talk about Cobra Kai season 6. Wow. Can't believe we got 6 seasons of this Cobra Kai now, right?
Same. That was going to be something that I was gonna say as well. 6 seasons, which is just insane at this point in time, and
Are
it
you
still works
are you
just as
glad?
good.
Are you glad it's going to stop at the end of the sixth season? Are you
I
happy?
do, I do, because I really like this show, and I think it's important to know when to stop, know when to pump the brakes. Rather than you know just keep going and going, because it's good to know when when to have a definite beginning, middle, and end of a
Mhm.
show. Um, you know, I don't want it to be another Walking Dead or Grey's situation where I'm just like,
Or The
it,
Flash on CW, like we
mm,
get season 9 and we're like, yeah, this is it. Can we stop?
yeah, yeah. So if they think this is a good point to stop, I think I respect it. You know, know when to call it quits. You know,
All right. So in this season, what are your feelings?
first and foremost, just to reiterate, holy crap. I never in a million years thought this show would work as well as it does. Um, Originally, I was one of the folks that when I first heard about this show, I was like, this sounds like it's going to be stupid. I won't even lie. When I first heard about it, this sounds like it'll be dumb. And then I saw the trailer for it, and I'm like, seriously? But then I sat down and watched it and was kind of hooked. Um, Actually, grabbed pretty much from the start. I really like uh, the fact that this show it's an easy like swift watch. I think
Mhm.
the 30 minute episode formula is good because each episode it never wears out its welcome. And furthermore, I like what they do with the characters of not just Daniel and Johnny, but um, all the characters as a whole. They really
I mean, we
run with
go
a lot
from
of
yeah, Martin, Cove, Crease,
the.
you got Zolo, you got Jacob as Hawk, you got Mary Musa as Sam. I mean, just Tanner Buchanan, Robbie. Like you have just so many. Robbie, who must be like 50 years old. Robbie gotta be 50 years old. I'm just saying. You can see him shaving, but like, dude, you got like 3 kids in the house, don't you? You know that. You know? But they even have
um,
new kids though. So I like Chosen coming back. I love Dallas Dupree as Kenny. They're doing a good job with
mhm.
this stuff.
Yep, and I like that they go into the gray area with these characters, and they really one thing that I really like that they run with from the original Karate Kid is the theme of there isn't necessarily a such thing as bad students, but more bad teachers.
Mhm.
So they really I like how they run with that. And honestly, man, I also like the way that this is filmed. It's almost like filmed in like a hokey kind of like soap opera way, but it as far as the narrative goes, it works. And again, I think my favorite thing is they show the gray area that sometimes there's a little more to it than just good and bad, even though I think Kreese is still a bastard, no matter what his past is. But
Yeah, but he
uh,
loved Johnny. Like Johnny was his
he
thing.
he did, but he's still a bastard.
Definitely that. I will agree
uh,
100% with that.
but I like how it kind of like veers off into elements that you don't quite expect. Or sometimes you're hoping, oh, this person will come into the light. They'll stick with Eagle Fang and or Cobra Kai or whatever, or they're gonna you know join the protagonist. Oh, not necessarily. Uh, so I like that constant like teeter totter. It's an element that really keeps you invested. And I like that they, like I said, they really respect what came before it. It really seems like a true and organic continuation of the original. And like I said, I'm just in amazement whenever I watch it, because I never in a million years thought this show would work as well as it ended up.
Okay. Okay. Is there an episode this season that you really found like engaging for you?
Uh, uh, the training episode when they brought back Barnes, I thought that added,
No, I
you know,
agree. Yeah.
what's it? It added a layer. I liked that he joined in on the training. It, like I said, it added another layer, and it kept things interesting, because usually it's just Johnny and Daniel, and
Okay.
it was kind of it added like a nice little it felt like a nice little add on and a
I feel like
necessary add on.
you're 100% right, but what you said at the beginning was it's really adults, and being bad teachers sometimes create bad students. Not necessarily like they're good or bad kids. Any of these kids could both go good or bad, and it all
Mhm.
depends on the teacher and their actual goals and their morals and what they're teaching these kids. Because a lot of these kids are blank slates,
Yeah,
and
impressionable.
impressionable, exactly. And they're looking for you when they call you sensei. You have an obligation, and I think that's what it shows more than anything. This obligation to be a good person when you have someone else's life in your hands like that.
Yep.
Um, for me, this season's been a lot of fun. I
Hmm.
I've seen these characters for so many years, and it don't matter if it's Zolo or any of them. I really enjoy seeing them grow and how their characters develop. Um,
Hmm.
I found myself it was weird. So the beginning of the season, there was no antagonist, right? It was just them
Right.
learning how to get together and learning how to go into this tournament and stay together and learning how to respect each other's wishes and actually become friends and understand who they are. And that's kind of what we got. And honestly, I found that very boring. You know, I was like, oh, okay, this is all just everything's going well. Um, and then Crease gets out, so
Hmm.
his turn. So you know something's gonna happen, and you start to see his backstory. So that was cool, and the development of the empire that he's going to start creating out in Japan.
Hmm.
I thought that was cool, and with his old teacher. Um, then you start seeing you know kinks in the armor, between all the characters, and I thought that was cool. I enjoyed. I mean, Johnny and Daniel are always good, and then seeing Chosen in there, really good. Those are good, really good dynamic between them. But I think my favorite episode is the one with Johnny and Chosen going through like Property Brothers. They're going around going to houses and seeing them interact and how Johnny is still Johnny, right?
Yep.
And no matter what, he's going to be himself, and he is trying to accept Miyagi Do as
Hmm.
as their teachings and stuff like that. You can see him really trying as an adult, trying to be a grown up and
Yeah.
failing terribly at it.
Hmm.
And
It kind of gives you a little insight into what may have happened when Robbie was little, or when Robbie was about to be born. You know, so it kind of, you kind of connect the you're kind of connecting the dots from a mental standpoint there, or just kind of kind of imagining for yourself what may have happened,
Mm-hmm.
which I like.
Well, I definitely agree with that.
Mhm,
I mean, Johnny having to both balance both Robbie
mhm,
and Miguel in the same house with his new baby mama who's about to have a girl. That's just a
mhm,
cool dynamic thing to kind of see him try to navigate, which is like
mhm.
impossible for any human being to navigate.
Yep. And
Uh,
I appreciate this show because as like, you know, when you're watching the original Karate Kid when you're little, you're never in a million never would I have thought I'm like, oh, I'm gonna grow up to like Johnny one day. you
sweet back,
know,
sweet back.
mm, or I'm gonna come to like the members of Cobra Kai, or kind of actually feel bad when the get him a body bag kid actually ends up in a body bag,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Dude,
But mhm,
those are good parts. I mean, and good points. Um,
mhm.
I think
Yeah,
the most I saw that this last episode 5, really got to me. Because
mhm,
you see Tori really become a kid again.
yep,
She's back in school, back in high school, has a little boyfriend, has her activity. She's excelling. She's doing well. She's strong. She's a fighter. She's starting to really work things out. Um, it's it's everything you ever really wanted to see. And soon as things go really well for her, that's when everything has to fall apart. And her and Sam finally become friends and all this stuff, and then you start seeing her mother, and you
mhm,
see foreshadowing because you see her mother. Oh, we're doing so well. We're going to wean her off some of her meds, and then the other shoe's going to drop, and of course it drops right before she has to fight Sam for who's going to be captain of the team.
mhm,
Um, and seeing Robbie calling for her, but not judging why he's not able to get in contact with her. Still happy to see when she comes in, but you can see she's flustered and she's a mess. And it's like watching a train accident, in slow motion, because you can see it falling off the rails, but you can't look away. And I
yep,
felt that was kind of what we were watching in that entire episode.
mhm.
And I think first of all, the girl playing Tori, what's the Peyton List, did an amazing
Painless, yeah,
did an amazing job with that. I thought that
sure did.
really showed different. I mean, that's hard to do, and then even you felt like you understood all the pain that she was going through as a teenager, and being now having a little brother, right, and now losing her mother. So, what happens? What happens in with her life,
Mhm,
and then the fact that everyone leaves, and I feel like Daniel Larusso did the right thing, trying to stop the fight.
I
He's like,
agree.
this is not
Mhm,
the time to fight. Um, and you understand exactly why Tori walked away. She couldn't handle it emotionally. Could anyone handle that right then? You know,
exactly. So you hope, um, you hope she wouldn't go back, running back
decrease.
to Crease. But when you're in that type of emotional state and you're that vulnerable, you know,
You
it's
look for
easy to get
anyone
kind
that
of preyed
wants you.
upon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Crease exploited that and preyed upon it.
And that's why I had a problem with Johnny this
Mhm,
episode 5, because I feel like as a man, as a guy who went through it,
mhm,
losing his mother and wanting to fight and all that stuff, but she's a girl. I mean, emotionally, that mother daughter bond is different. And then not having anyone in her life this entire time, not realizing all the stuff that she could be going through with the physical abuse, and seeing her mom doing all that stuff, and the drugs and all this, and how strong you have to be to do that. Sometimes you want to say, hey, not that we won't fight. We don't need to name a captain today. you embrace that person. And I
Mhm.
think Daniel did a bad job of embracing it, but Johnny should have been the one who say, "No, I don't put my arms around you. You're still part of this family. We'll do this later. Right now, we just know we need to be here for you and supporting you." That's what
Yep.
she needed to hear, and that's what drove her in the crease because you didn't do that.
Yeah, she felt abandoned. You know.
She felt like she misunderstood that she would
Hmm.
never get a fair shake. That's exactly what crease I put in her head, and no one cared about her.
Hmm.
Fair or unfair, that's her perception. And I thought that was the one time that Johnny could have been the person saying, "Hey, I got you. We got you. You know, we need to be there for you." Instead, they just went right to, "Okay, we're gonna bring someone else in. Don't worry about it. We're replacing you." That's not the right answer, right?
No.
As much as I
No.
think Hawk deserved to win and needs to be in there, you're just gonna replace her.
Hmm.
I thought that was pretty bogus.
Yeah, that was cold. So, you know, even though I think it sucks with Tori and how the way part one ended, I understood the why.
Hmm.
You know.
Her going away. I mean, I understand why she'll go away and want to go crease again, and you know, it just made sense.
Hmm.
I was not mad at her any way, shape, or form, but once again, the teachers should have been better, and if they did, they would have had more students.
Hmm.
I don't know. That's that's what I saw for part one. What do you? Anything else that we missing about part one?
I think.
Well, the whole Miyagi thing, that could be a big thing.
Oh, that I definitely didn't see coming. But I'm kind of happy they went that. I'm kind of happy they went that route because again, the show explores the gray area with characters, and it kind of shows that Miyagi, hit, he had some red in his ledger too.
But
Uh,
does it really do that? Because the question is Miyagi was in the same tournament.
mhm,
And maybe it wasn't really theft, or maybe he was trying to get back something that they stole from him.
mhm. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to wait it out to see. We're gonna have to wait it out to find out for sure.
Yeah. I think
You know.
they're going to what do you think will happen in part two? Because there's 3 parts to this thing. Part
Yeah.
one, we just saw. Part two comes out in November. Part three will come out in 2025. So
Mhm.
what do you think is going to happen in part two?
Um, part two. Definitely more insight into Miyagi. I think maybe Daniel will take a little bit more of the stage this particular season. I think that as far as the supporting characters go, I think we'll probably. I feel like in some way, shape, or form, Silver will re-enter the picture in
Okay.
some capacity,
Okay.
and I think definitely more with Tori. I think there's going to be some more character moments between her and Sam because I think their dynamic is very is very I kind of see parallels between those two and Miguel and Robbie. You know, so I think there will be more with that. I
What
don't know
about
if we're
what happens with Robbie and Tori? Do you
that's
think does he feel like he's totally like she just abandoned me and didn't say nothing to me and then went to the other side?
that's what I was about to get into next. Uh, Obviously, there's going to be some conflict with that, and I'm curious to see how you know how Robbie's going to take it when he's going to talk to her, uh, what's going to be said, that sort of thing. So yeah, because that's kind of the foundation that the show's kind of built on. A lot of the character misunderstandings, the back and forths. Like I said, it does have a little bit of a soap opera esque vibe to it, but I mean that in the best way possible, because it works.
Yeah, it
You
does.
know.
Yeah, agreed.
Mhm.
Um, I think part two is going to be about relationships. Like, the whole show's been about relationships, but specifically, we're going to have we got Dimitri on one side, and we got Hawk. You know, how do their relationship, how their relationship's going to work with him feeling
Mhm.
so hurt. You know, with Hawk feeling. I mean, it's Dimitri that's hurt right now, right?
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
I feel like Hawk just left him hanging and all this stuff. How is that going to work?
Mhm. Yeah, I was going to ask you how you felt about that because there is like a little bit of a double-edged sword, I think, when it comes to some of the character misunderstandings and some of the back and forth. Did that, um, well, two-part question. Did that character dynamic and did the misunderstanding between Anthony and Kenny kind of feel tacked on or there just for the sake of being there for you, or was that just me?
So I thought that one was just stupid. You
Hmm.
know, if you're a true friend, you know, you wouldn't hate on Hawk for not, doing it. You'll probably be a little disappointed that why don't you just tell me, man? You could tell me anything. We're friends.
Hmm.
You could tell me anything. But to take it in like I'm gonna punch you because you leaving me was very weird.
Yep.
You know, so I thought that was just strange overall. As far as the Kenny one, I knew that they're going to try to dump that, dump that on someone else. I knew that
Hmm.
that was. I knew Anthony didn't do it. So I knew it was probably Devin who was going to do it. I saw that coming. Um, but yeah, I feel like it almost felt like what's the word? Systematic. Like it was like formulaic. Like it's formulaic. Like you knew you had to do this. This is the form that says you must do this. So this has to, by the end of it, Kenny has to feel like Anthony's the one who did this, and there's no need for all that to happen. And
Hmm.
you knew Devin was going to be the one who turns bad, or Dimitri and Hulk thing was just weird the way they handled it, because you think if they're friends since they're little, 5 years old, then they
Hmm.
will have a stronger relationship. I mean, they
Exactly.
fought each other, and they're still
Hmm.
able to come back. So why wouldn't you have a strong relationship after that?
Yeah, and I think, like I said, it kind of felt like it was just there just for the sake of being there. I think Dimitri was being a little unreasonable. I think, especially in spite of um, you know much bigger things that have transpired between them over the course of this show. You know, even with them deciding to go to, even with Hawk deciding to go to a different school. We're talking about like, they're kids since the crib. They're the binary brothers, right? Um,
Exactly.
and their friendship has endured during this show much bigger things, or even worse things. So
So
I
why
think
would this fall
something,
apart here? That doesn't make any
yeah,
sense.
yeah, something is not to minimize how Dimitri's taking it, but something as trivial as going to different schools. That's I don't think that should make or destroy a friendship. Even if it's something that you have talked about for years, things sometimes things change.
And you
You
just
know.
gotta respect them. Don't you think
Hmm.
so?
Yeah.
What up, Tony? Hey,
What up, Tony?
I'm digging that haircut, right? I like that pick, man. I really like it. Come on, Brad, man. You got to get your dreads back, man. Come on.
Yeah, I'm thinking about. Well, I think I'm starting to grow out the at least like the mini throwback.
Good. I was getting it done. I didn't realize how long my dreads were, so these are all braided now, so I could
Hmm.
have a little bit short of a hair.
Hmm.
As I digress, man, I'm excited to see what actually comes up. From all these relationships, Miguel and Robbie seems unfinished, and as much as
Hmm.
they are going to be, at each other's throat, they got a little sister that they both share. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hold up, Brandon had locks.
You haven't been on here when we talked about this, Mama Bear. I thought you tune in all the time.
Yep, yeah, yeah. He definitely had some nice long hair. When I
Hmm.
first met him. See, I'm trying to
Hmm.
get like you, man. Whatever, man. Your stuff is looking nice already. It's that quality. That's what it is. And that's why I was talking about Supercell, where it's all different type of black people. That's great. He wants to know, Dale, you see the new pics from the set from Superman. That is our next topic, so we will do that. And then I do have a trailer that we're going to talk about. But let's go ahead and finish this up so I can cut this up easier.
Hmm.
All right. So part one of Cobra Kai. I want to know, Brandon, where do you grade this? How are you going to grade this? So here with Spoiler Kings, we grade our all of our things now, later, or never. Those are really the way we kind of put in each category. So which category are you going to put this season part one of Cobra Kai?
Well, I love Cobra Kai as a whole, so this is very much now. Even if you have not watched any Cobra Kai in the past, you could plow through all the previous seasons literally in probably about under a day. It's that quick a watch.
Yeah, that's true.
So and be up to speed for this one. I think you really don't even have to be a Karate Kid fan to enjoy and appreciate this show because they give you a pretty good prologue at the very beginning. They tell you everything that you need to know. But I like how episodic it is, and I definitely say watch it as a whole before you start number six if you haven't. Um, it it's infinitely better than I ever imagined it would be. You know, I really appreciate that. It doesn't completely bank on nostalgia. The nostalgia is there, obviously, but they do it in the right way. In terms
Mhm.
of pushing the story forward. And it's pretty cool to see a career resurgence of all these guys who were like huge in the '80s and then kind of vanished
Fell
off the grid for a
away.
while.
Yeah.
Mhm. And it kind of functions as a torch passing. I'm not necessarily saying, oh, we need spin-offs with like Hawk and Robbie and Dimitri and Tori and all them, but it is cool to see like more Karate Kids be kind of be um, birthed by Daniel and Johnny and company.
I
So yeah,
like it.
I could give this a no.
Okay. Um, I wasn't sure about what we were going to give a Cobra Kai when it first came out, and
Mhm.
every season, the more got into it, the more I enjoyed it. Um,
Mhm.
there's something that I saw Tony ask, and he talked about, do I like the new model that Netflix is using by doing part
Mhm.
one, part two, part three? Um, I don't mind it as long as I don't have these giant gaps in between. Giant
Mhm.
gaps really kind of take the momentum for a show and slow it down. So, as much as I like this one, I'm almost going to give it a later and tell you watch it in October.
Oh, that's a good point.
Because I want you to watch it in October. Then you get right into November, you're watching part two, and then early 2025 you can finish it up. Because at least you get 10 episodes and you can kind of digest that, and then you see maybe February that you finish it up. I think that's a
Mhm.
better way to actually have it because you have things in between. You have Christmas time and Thanksgiving time and all that other stuff, and then by the time you get over all that stuff and New Year's, you got Cobra Kai coming back again. So I feel
Mhm.
like I'm only giving it later because as much as I like this part one, it's part one of 3 parts. So I would rather you kind of watch it later to enjoy it better. If that makes sense.
Yep.
Not my typical later, but it's a later nonetheless. So but that's how we're grading it, guys. I want to know how you guys think about it. You know, do you enjoy this show, this part one of the show? Did you think that we need to go run out and watch it right now? Do you think it needs to be later? Is it something that's missing? Do you not enjoy the way Netflix is doing these shows? Would you rather have a full season if you're going to have a finale? I want to know what you guys think. Brandman wants to know what you guys are thinking because we read all your comments. So please, if you get a chance, comment on the video. Let us know what you're thinking about Cobra Kai season 6 part 1. Is it a now for you? Is it a later for you? Or is it a never? Come out to our shows. We're here Mondays and Thursdays at 9 Central. We're always talking about topics, and we love hearing from you guys. And we have all of our people in the chat that kind of shape the show. So if that you want to be one of those people, please come out, and we'll see you on the next video.